Oh, and we're live. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Westgate. I'm the channel or customer success manager here at CloudRadial. Just to give you an intro to myself, and then I'll pass over to Chris, and he can intro himself. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I managed MSPs before. I've used CloudRadial in the past, and my job here is to make sure all of our partners are successful in setting up and using CloudRadial products with their clients. Today, we're going to talk about ChatAI and how it can help improve triaging tickets, which is a problem we've all faced in MSPs. You know, that back and forth noise, the time it takes to get all the right info from customers. We're going to talk about that together today, and I'll pass it over to Chris.
Hi. Thanks for the introduction, Nick. Can you hear me okay? Or?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm Chris Dix. I'm the Director of Conversational Interfaces at CloudRadial, which is an oddly long title, but means I'm kind of responsible for the chat product because I was the original founder of the chat product that became CloudRadial ChatAI. And so I'm still involved in the development, the design, support, every aspect of the product really, and it's something that I feel very close to and very excited and fortunate to work on a daily basis and get to work with people like Nick and the rest of the team at CloudRadial. So.
Thanks, Chris. I've just realized I didn't share my presentation, so let me go ahead and do that. There we go. So again, today we're going to talk about that challenge, that problem, how a lot of times we get those tickets that come in like, my computer doesn't work or my phone's broken, and we spend time going back and forth with clients, asking them questions to get the right info, and sometimes that takes 3 or 4 times. And that wastes a lot of time where techs, had they got the right info, would be able to triage and resolve those tickets quickly. The goal here, obviously, with ChatAI is to make sure we get better information faster, because obviously that's going to help reduce some of that back and forth noise and guide users to provide useful context, which will help us as the techs and help desk managers triage and resolve tickets quicker. So we're going to show you ChatAI. ChatAI is a product that's built into CloudRadial. It uses natural language to kind of ask leading or guiding questions, like I said, to help collect better info from your clients when they're submitting tickets from the portal. I guess if Chris, do you have a demo that we can go through and show everyone some ChatAI?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's
stop sharing my screen here, and you can take over.
Sure thing. All right, so let's share. How does that look, Nick?
Perfect.
Awesome. So ChatAI is a lot of things really. But one of the main things that the product is built around is the ability to add a widget to your environment, whether that is in CloudRadial inside the portal, or whether it is on a website that you have your company website, wherever you would like to put it. There's an easy way to add this chat capability to those different platforms. And we also support additional channels for communication like Teams and Slack for your customers. Now, those aren't in the starter application that we have for ChatAI, but they are available. And so I'd like to kind of just walk you through one of these scenarios to show you how it works. And as far as how you get it onto your website or portal, it's really easy. There are channels inside of the ChatAI portal that that have an HTML snippet that you can look at to load that in. So, but let's take a look at the actual widget too. So here's the snippet, so you can get an idea of how simple it is to add. It's just a little block of HTML, and you stick that on your website or inside the portal, and you're off and running. And what you get is this widget. And so if you come into the portal with the widget, then what we do is we pass through the credentials of the user who is who is logged into the portal. So there's no need for an authentication step or anything like that. We already know who they are because they've authenticated to get into the portal. Now, if they come onto a website or something like that, some sort of unauthenticated channel, then what we can do is walk them through a few steps to get them authenticated. And we support a couple of different ways. We can do email address or mobile phone number. We can also do Office 365 authentication. But I can do a quick email address authentication here just to show you how it would work if we are coming in from one of those unauthenticated methods. And so it's going to send me an email with a short code that will identify me as a user who's in your system. So in this case, I've got my code, I'm gonna put that in, and then we're going to go back to your PSA, whether that's ConnectWise, Autotask, Halo, whatever it is, and identify this contact. And that's and this is how we can tie the tickets that get created back to the customer, to the contact. So if I say I want to report an issue here, it's going to give me this opportunity to describe my problem. So I can do something like saying, my printer is not working. And so when we're talking about things like triage and things like that, this is, kind of an example of an initial problem statement that a customer might give you that isn't really all that helpful. It gets you started, but it's not enough. So if they say my printer is not working, we have the opportunity to get more specific about it. So let's make this a little bigger in case my screen is too big. We're asking, let's get a little more specific here. Sort of the basic level of triage. It's printing blank pages. So this is the most basic level of triage that we are, doing here, but even that alone is a time saver for your techs, for your team, to not have the back and forth of trying to collect this initial bit of information. Say it started yesterday, and printer cartridge replace. Now we're able to use different levels of AI as well. So in some of the higher tiers, we're going to be able to connect to things like Service AI, which is another offering that we have here at CloudRadial, to get smarter about your specific details of previously tickets solved and things like that. But this is just sort of a generic triage, and we don't go crazy with it because we know that people tend to walk away after you try to ask them too many questions in a row. So we're trying to keep it short, concise, but useful, collect that information right up front. Let's say, no.
Chris, could you zoom in just a tad more?
Yeah,
a couple
absolutely.
People in chat have said it's still a little small. That's better. Thank you.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry, these big screens, they catch up with me. So now we've collected a couple of pieces of information, and we're going to go back to the system, create a ticket, because we got to have a ticket about it, capture that information, and go ahead and get the process started. Now, depending on how you have things set up, this could mean a couple of different things at the next stage. In this case, we've got a system set up where we're connected to live chat in the background. And so one of the very cool things I think about what we're doing here is the ability to create live chats with your text directly inside of Teams. So what we do is we have a configured list of who in Teams can support these kinds of chats, and then we can automatically create a new group chat inside of Teams that connects your text, one or more, with the customer, the contact on the other side, and with the bot. So in this case now, we have a connection here where I've joined the chat. And if I say, hi there, Chris, sorry to hear about your printer. And this information is going to go back over to the web chat or anywhere else that the customer is coming from. And the same is true in the other direction. So we've got a live chat bridge between the web and Teams. The advantage here being you don't have to leave Teams where you already are, or Slack. We support Slack as well, but you get to stay in there chatting with your team members, chatting with the bot in case, bringing up ticket details and things like that, turning Teams into kind of a chat and ticketing command center for you to process this sort of information. Now we have the ability to, because it's Teams, we can do things like GIFs and emojis and things like that. That's something that a lot of these chat widget things might not support because it's not easy to support things like that. But if you don't support some of these things like that, then the context and the familiarity, it kind of gets lost between the two. And so we can do that. We can also do things like attachments, screenshots, get that information into the ticket as well. And so the nice thing about that is that when all of this is done, when the live chat wraps up and they've solved the problem, then we're able to get all this information back into the ticket. So that results by the chat ending. We don't write a ton of notes as the chat is going on. Rather, we take the opportunity at various parts of the conversation to summarize and get it into the ticket as a larger note. So if I say end chat now, that is going to go ahead and wrap up the conversation. The bot's responsible then for collecting the data, getting it from the conversation into the ticket, and returning the conversation back to the bot on the customer side. So you get the best of both worlds. You get Teams where you're familiar, where you're productive, where you don't have to have another tool, but you don't have to open up your Teams tenant or direct conversation with customers because you need that gatekeeper so that they can access you where you are and you can talk to them when they need you, but they can't talk to you anytime they want to. Kind of bust in and break your productivity. So now I'm going to take a look and see if I can find that ticket in Autotask. And I think I'll stop sharing while I do because it might take me a minute to load that up. But so, Nick, I hope that that kind of showed a little bit of
what
we've
awesome,
got going
Chris.
on.
Yeah, I think the contrast here is pretty stark, right? So within those few questions, ChatAI kind of guided the end user to provide some better details. And it's the difference between getting that, my printer's not working ticket to getting some details that's literally save you between 20 and 30 minutes, minimum, solving that request or just getting the right info. And I think, that translates into definitely some major wins as far as, getting, those tickets with the right info from the start. faster resolution time, obviously, because you're not having to waste time gathering information. And it also improves collaboration between the MSP and the client because they're obviously able to use the improved ticket triage as well as even that live chat option to solve a ticket quickly, which ultimately results in happier clients. Users feel heard, I think, when they feel like they're chatting with someone or talking to someone real. It definitely adds that personal touch to handling those requests. Let me share my screen while you're still working on that. I have some things here left on my
Sure
slides.
thing.
So, obviously we talked about the key benefits of ChatAI. You're going to get a smarter intake. The tickets are going to come in with better info, which translates to that faster resolution time and better collaboration between you and your clients, which again ultimately ends up with happier clients. And the real impact of that, right, is that you can reduce your triage time by up to 50%, where you're not spending, 20, 30 minutes or more reaching out and, hoping they respond, and then going back and forth to gather all that info, which increases client satisfaction, right? When their problems get solved quicker, obviously they're going to be happier. And it also allows you to streamline workflows because you getting that information, allows you to use the PSA options that you have better when you're triaging those requests. So before we jump into Q&A, were you able to get that ticket up in the PSA, Chris?
Yeah, I was actually. Let me bring that up.
Stop sharing here.
Oh, cool. So yes, here's the ticket in Autotask that got created. And I just want to show you a little bit how some of the triage and AI combination works. So in the ticket subject, title, we take that first initial problem statement, and maybe it's not helpful, but it is what the user used to describe the initial problem. But then for the description of the ticket, we take a summary of the initial triage. Now that's an AI-based summary that might not give you all the details necessarily that you wanted to capture, but one of the things we do is this transcript functionality. And as I mentioned, it's twofold. We do two transcripts. So there is an initial transcript that captures the triage steps and the initial interaction with the bot. So all that is collected and available when the ticket comes into live chat. So if you want to go in and look at that piece of the transcript as the live chat begins, that's already there for you in the ticket. Then the next step is about capturing the interaction between your tech and the contact, the customer. So we'd capture that as a separate transcript note. And both of those notes are created by default internally, but could be made public as well if you wanted it to be something that the customer, was visible to the customer. The nice thing about the group chat functionality in Teams is, so we're creating these group chats so you can pull in other techs, work it together as a team. And so that's one of the reasons why we do an internal note by default is, maybe there are things that are being said, or commands that are being executed that you don't necessarily want to share collectively. But this is the way we're doing it. And just I wanted to say about the triage steps as well. That can be fine-tuned. So it's driven from an AI prompt. So if you wanted to have a triage question in there, like if you always print a device ID for everybody's laptop, and you wanted that to make sure that was one of the triage questions that got asked, then we can edit that prompt so that is part of the triage questions, or so that it asks 4 questions instead of 3, or things like that are configurable to make you, be able to make it fit your voice and capture what you're trying to capture. So
awesome. Thanks, Chris. I see we have a few questions, and we have some time left, so maybe we can go through them before we tell people how to schedule a demo. Looks like, can the chatbot icon in the CR customer portal be customized for white label clients? So for each client, can it be different?
It can be. In the starter, we don't do customization. We only do the one shared channel inside the portal. But if you were using one of the other tiers of ChatAI, then you could configure multiple channels, and that would allow you to have multiple avatar images for the widget.
Awesome. Looks like Lindsay about the transcript command, and I saw you showed that, how it does show both the summary and the full transcript. Is that a command that they can use to add the transcript, or is it just there by default when they end the chat?
Well, that's a good question too. So there is a transcript command that can be executed at any time, and what that does is captures everything that's happened in the conversation from that point, from the last time we took a transcript until now. So that'll take everything that's happened in the conversation since the last time you did a transcript command and put it in there as a note. One happens automatically at the end of the conversation. So both things can happen. You could do it either way. You could trigger it manually or wait for it to run at the end. Or if there was, for some reason that you needed to make sure that got into the ticket before you brought other people in or things like that. And yeah, no, great question.
Cool. Frank has 2 questions. One is every chat a group chat? And the other one is a follow-up to that, which sounds like you started to answer. Can we have it so a group of people, dispatchers, be added to every chat by default?
Yes. So in our new release, the most recent one, every chat is being created as a group chat, every live chat. In the previous versions of the product, we were doing some other things with the ability to transfer to an individual user, or doing things in channel. And we're finding that the group chat just works better from a usability standpoint. It combines the best of being able to have the bot see everything you type and pass it over without having to use, any kind of adding of the bot, as well as collaboration, being able to bring in multiple people. And so for the other part of your question, yes, there's a couple of different methods for configuring who gets the live chat. First of all, it can be configured to be automatically started or not. So I don't know if you've noticed, but we still put a ticket card into the channel. That can be used to trigger the creation of the group chat by clicking live chat on that card. Or if you know that, during business hours when you want to have a live chat, you want to just go ahead and get the customer in there as quickly as possible, then we can automatically start them. And we choose who gets added from a couple of different strategies. Basically, you could have a list of, add everybody on the list, or we can do a round robin kind of process where who's been the longest since they got a live chat would be pulled in. Working on other strategies as well for future releases, like skill-based kind of things, or targeting a particular customer. But yeah, so group chats. Yes, you can configure who, and a couple different ways how.
Awesome. And that is, Frank followed up with that. It's a config option, group chat versus channels, and that's correct, right, Chris?
Yes, that it is still an option. Yeah, it's just our default now.
Cool. And you did mention, I think, the transcript is now a global setting. It does apply it automatically.
Yes. So yeah, every conversation is getting get captured at those two places, regardless of any action you take. So whatever happens between the customer and the bot gets captured in one, whatever happens between the tech and the customer gets captured in another.
Cool. Okay. And it looks like there's one last question from Lindsay. So the different tiers for customization is a separate product from CR. I believe chat was included in the CR subscription, but is this a higher price tier? Yeah, ChatAI is separate from Chat Starter, I believe the answer.
Yeah, so Chat Starter doesn't have AI, and it doesn't have some of the configuration options, but it's free. Once you add up to the paid version, the ChatAI version that enables AI and some of these customization settings, then yeah, there is a little bit. But I would recommend everyone who is interested in this, signing up for the Chat Starter, getting comfortable with that, because really it's as Nick and I are aware, getting that starter connection working and feeling comfortable with the live chat capability and things like that, and getting into the tickets is something that has to happen even if you want those advanced features soon. So there's no downside to signing up for Chat Starter and making that happen.
And we got one more, I think, here. How do we turn it off? I think Lindsay means do, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think she means how do we turn that off so they don't have chat? Or maybe it's how do we turn off the AI piece?
Okay. So yeah, so as far as the AI on or off, it's just a flag in terms of the triage. If you wanted to turn it off for a particular customer or something like that, that would be kind of like handling multiple channels. Just in general, if you can configure your business hours. So chat is not on 24/7 unless you want it to be, if that helps.
Awesome. There's my sharing my screen again. Let's see. Is my screen shared again?
I can see the thank you.
Okay, sorry, before I do that, I wanted everyone to see this link so they could schedule a demo and see how Chat AI works and improves their triage and workflows. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Chris or myself or our team. Please feel free to send any follow-up questions to us. But thank you all for your time. This has been great. And then Chris, thank you so much for showing us Chat AI. Thank you for all the work you've done to get that product to where it is. And thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. You did a great job.